Pozdrav našim gledateljima iz studija 24 sata. Danas će nam se pridružiti uživo naša gošća iz Jeruzalema, gospođa Adi Levic-Bosi. Ona je uspjela preživjeti napad Hamasa u mjestu Sderotu u Izraelu, nedaleko od Pojasa Gaze. Uspjela je zajedno sa svojom obitelji pobjeći u nedjelju u Jeruzalem. Sada će nam se priključiti uživo iz roditeljskog doma. Hi, Adi. Can you hear me?
Hi. Yes.
Hello.
Good evening.
Hello, and thank you for your time to talk to us. For the first, can you tell us when did you hear djece? What was happening there? It was on Saturday, right?
So it was a high holiday for the Jewish nation, the end of Sukkot, it's called, and it's the holiday of the Torah scrolls that in general we all celebrate the Bible and people dance and have big celebration. And it was the morning of the holiday. I was in the living room with my two little kids. My son is 3 years old, my daughter is 2.
And you're also pregnant, right?
And I'm 8 months pregnant, yes. And at 6:15, I thought I heard a thunder in the sky because it sounded a little bit like weather. And 1 minute later, or maybe a few seconds even, there was a siren. Now in Sderota, where I live, it's not a going up and down siren, but it says tseva adom, the red light. And it goes over and over, tseva adom, tseva adom. So out of nowhere, we had a siren. I grabbed both my kids in my arms and ran to the bomb shelter because my husband was asleep and he came from the bedroom and met us in the room. And immediately we closed the door and it just started. In other words, from 0 to 100, there was so many missiles coming. 20 sirens, one after another, without a break, without a stop. And we had no clue, what's going on. How is this happening?
You didn't get any, any warnings from your intelligence
I'm not
services?
sure anybody. I don't know if anybody knew. To be honest, I think the amount of attacks, not only as rockets, but later on, terrorists that physically came and shooting people and killing people and taking people under hostage, and so many different ways of attacking Israeli civilians, families, mothers, kids in every place. I don't think anybody can even in their craziest minds think of such a way of acting towards civilians and people, not even towards armies or in a war, but just targeting helpless civilians.
You told us that you went to bomb shelter, right?
Yeah.
Have you seen any of these terrorists from Hamas?
So
from your window,
it was a very long, almost 2 days that we were in the. Maybe it was actually felt like 2 days, but it was about 28 hours that we were in our home while this was going on. So we did come out sometimes to go to the bathroom or to bring some food in. And in one of the times I went out, I saw from my window a truck with terrorists. We don't use phones on Saturday in general. We don't use TV or lights, or we don't use electricity. But when those sirens were so many times, we understood that this is an out of the ordinary situation. We need to check for our security, what's going on. And when we checked, we saw that there's a terrorist coming into Sderot. And I saw the type of vehicles and how they look and what you're supposed to look out for if there's people shooting. And after I saw the vehicles in the news press, I saw them driving under my building. Now, we live on the 6th floor, so it didn't feel as exposed as people who live in private houses that
So you live in a building?
Messages. Yeah, I live in a 10-story building. So in the sixth floor, I sort of felt a little more safe, even though the missiles could hit from above. In other words, I see the missiles going out from my kitchen window, and I
Terrifying.
know that they're directed. So I'm not sure what's safe. Nothing is safe in this situation. But I saw the terrorists in their cars with their guns up in the streets under our house, driving around. And
They were
also, I'm in a
shooting.
WhatsApp group. So I'm in a WhatsApp group with volunteers that give information from all over the city. And every 5-10 minutes from a different location in Sderota, people were announcing to the military or to the police force, there's shooting, please come, please help us, please come rescue us. There's people shooting in our garden. We hear Arabic, we hear shootings. Like, I think the amount of terrorists who were coming thirsty for blood, thirsty to kill and to find families and children and women. So yeah, it was very scary. And to also know that at some point, you know how to differentiate the different noises. So you know which is a bombing of the IDF in Gaza response. You know which is the missiles that are falling by us with the Iron Dome that is shooting it down, and which suddenly is shooting of gunfire in our streets. And you suddenly get the understanding of the differentiation of the different noises and different sounds.
Well, how did your children react?
So it was very very difficult. My son, when the first time there was a siren and I took him from the living room to the bomb shelter, his first reaction was, oh, it's like at grandmother's house in May when there was a siren, because there was sirens in May all over the country due to a different a small war that was here in May. And I said to him, that's true, but now we have to go physically again into the bomb shelter. And he was okay. Like, he was really, I feel like even though he's 3 years old, he was very brave and very understanding of the situation and very cautious. Like, I could say I've been living for 2 years in Sderot, and shortly after we moved to Sderot, we also had sirens. And it was much, much harder when they're younger. They don't understand that they need to stay in the bomb shelter. So constantly they're trying to go out. But now it was a little easier that my son understood that he needs to stay in to protect himself. And we voice it, we speak to him, even though he's only 3 years old. We explain to him that the siren is here to protect us, and that the bomb shelter is a place that we need to be in order to be protected, because there are people who want to harm us. And my daughter's almost 2 years old, and her first reaction was, Ima, I'm afraid, I'm scared. And who would imagine a 2-year-old could express emotion and say that she's afraid of something that she doesn't, I'm not sure, really understand what it means, but she hears loud noises. And yes, during the night, she wasn't at ease. She was waking up from the different bombings and from the noises, and wanted me to hug her all night. And it was very, very difficult. And also, I know how many kids go through so much trauma. I have a neighbor with 3 little kids that her husband was enlisted in the middle of the day to go to the army. So she came to us to be with us in the bomb shelter with her 3 kids. And the kids played together and were together the whole day in order to really try to get their minds off the situation and to spend the time together as much as possible, to be safe together, but also to stay sane, because
so you all together, you spent night over there in bomb shelter. Then the other morning, on Sunday morning, you decided to run.
So I try not to say to run, but to sort of leave, because I don't run away from my home, but at the same moment, it's not safe enough to stay. I love Sderot. I would like to say that Sderot is an amazing, beautiful city with an amazing community, very warm people, very open-hearted. The municipality is the most amazing one in the world that does so much for the people who live there. And I could say that I have no doubt that I'm going to go back and live there. In other words,
but
this is
was it?
without a doubt.
Can you please tell us, was it dangerous to leave the place? How did you decide
it
to
was
go?
It was very dangerous, and we knew that there is a risk and that it's not official that we could leave yet. But on the other hand, we didn't know when and how it will be possible to leave, and we preferred to try to minimize the trauma for our kids. And suddenly, when I'm here by my parents near Jerusalem, I understand how much fear I had while I was there, because I didn't want to leave the bomb shelter. I hardly wanted to go to the bathroom. I hardly wanted to go to the kitchen. I didn't want my kids to leave, because you don't know how it'll catch you, and you only have 15 seconds to reach the bomb shelter. So it's crazy. So we decided to leave, and we got intel from someone high up rank in the army that said that relatively it's sort of quiet, so maybe this is a good window of time to go. So it's crazy because all the electricity and a lot of the internet were down. And when we were in the car, we were trying to get out, but the gate wouldn't open for like 10 minutes. And we're trying to leave and not able to. And it was very scary. And finally, we were able to get out. My husband was praying out loud the whole way until we left Sderota, and driving very, very fast. And
how long did this journey? How long was this journey?
So within Sderota, it's about maybe a 5 or 6 minute drive. In other words, to get out of the city, it's not a lot. Still, the road to get further away, to be out of the danger zone, is about 15 minutes. And then to my parents, it's 50 minutes. So it's not that bad. Like, it's okay. But it's crazy that 50 minutes away in two different worlds. In other words,
now
two different worlds.
Now are you safe? You are staying, like you told us, at your parents' house near Jerusalem?
Near Jerusalem. My kids are playing in the garden outside. It's crazy. Like, it's a small country, but also the borders are very influenced, like next to Gaza, or in the north also now there might be things going on. So it's more for the people who live right next to it. And next to Jerusalem, there were a few sirens since we were here. And it's very important to also go into a bomb shelter once there is a siren to stay safe. And I think it's very important to listen to the guidances of what's needed at the time. But on the contrary, I think it's not a constant fear of danger in the same way.
Well, did you hear any news from your neighbors or friends from Sderota?
So I'm constantly in touch with them. We left a key, and my neighbors went into my house today to take diapers and milk and eggs and cheese and everything they need, because we left a full house. So I think on the amount of caring and charity and giving and a warm heart, it's incredible to see how many people are caring for each other, and constantly for if people need medicine to be bought for them, or if people need to evacuate and they need help, or everything. The connection is nonstop. I could say that unfortunately my mom's cousin, she was kidnapped from her kibbutz in Nir Oz next to Gaza. She's 84 years old, and she was taken from her home, from her bomb shelter, into Gaza. And right now we don't know her whereabouts. We don't know what's with her. It's very scary.
She's a hostage. You don't know anything about her now?
We don't know anything, and we know for sure that she's there because her daughter called her, and they answered the phone and said Allah Akbar in Arabic. So we know that she's taken hostage. And I asked myself, what kind of people take an 84-year-old out of her home and under in hostage? And doesn't matter who, could be a child, it could be a woman, but she hardly walks. How can you even drag a person all the way to Gaza? And also right now, there's no answers. We don't know yet what's with all the hostages. I have 3 friends my age with little kids that their husbands were killed in the battles, and with terrorists that face-to-face shot them and killed them. And they're heroes because they protected and saved full kibbutzim and settlements and cities, and they died in the heroism of saving people.
They died this Saturday and Sunday?
Yeah. I wrote a friend that lives right on the border in Kerem Shalom. And I wrote her, like, how are you doing? Are you okay? She's like, she answered, like, my husband fell in the battle, but we're okay. And I'm like, wait a minute. How could you be okay? Like, your husband just fell in the battle. Like, I don't understand. And I still can't palate the fact that her 3 kids now need to grow up without a father, just for the right of existence, of being Jewish, of wanting to live in our own home. And it's so brutal. It's so brutal. Like, but another on the heroism of her husband and his friend, that they were both killed together. They saved the whole kibbutz, and thanks to their heroism and their preparations to know that they have to prepare for a day that might be in danger, they saved the whole community. And I think that's also a huge fact, that we need to protect ourselves, and we need to be there to be able to protect ourselves from the enemies that want to kill us.
So for now, you're going to stay at your parents' house with your family. Your husband is with you also, right?
My husband is with me. We're living by the day. Like, I really don't know what's going to be tomorrow. I don't know how long am I going to be out of my house. I miss my home. Like, I want to go home. I wish I could prepare for my baby at home and not be elsewhere with a suitcase and a few bags. Even today, I went to a doctor's appointment here in my parents' city because I can't get to my doctor because it's under fire.
When is your due date?
In November.
In November. Well,
so like five weeks away.
5 weeks away. Adi, thank you for a talk. We wish you to stay safe, you and your family, your neighbors, and we wish you peace. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Goodbye.